I'm Marcus. I identify as a gay man and I'm the Chief Executive of Mind in Salford, the mental health charity.
I'm Dan. I identify as gay. I'm a trustee here at Mind in Salford. I'm a Governor of Greater Manchester Mental Health. I advise the police on mental health and LGBT issues. I chair the Salford Mental Health Forum. I sit on a national panel for the it goes on and on, basically. A lot of my work does revolve around mental health.
I'm Stephen, I'm 36, I'm a cis gay man and I work with dogs. I've been in Manchester for about 5 years now, from the Wirral.
My name's Kyle, I'm 29 years old. I identify as a transgender man. I'm an administrator at a mental health charity. I chose to do that after working in retail because I started accessing mental health services and then started volunteering. It just makes me feel a lot better than serving people behind a till. If my old employer's watching, I enjoyed the job.
It was hard. There were no kind of strong gay role models for me to take solace from.
It was quite homophobic where I was from. You know, all the lads were playing football and looking at boobs and I was doing other stuff. I didn't really fit in with many of them either.
Coming out as gay was really difficult because of what I knew it would entail.
It's hard to say because I didn't know that I was LGBT growing up.
It wasn't really talked about. It wasn't okay to be gay. School was really difficult. Lots of name calling and bullying.
I got beat up on a weekly basis. Even before I knew I was gay, they were calling me gay.
And not really feeling like I fit in with my friends and my classmates or even my family. There was just always something that was a bit odd.
I got beat up several times just for being out. Not out as in out gay man, I mean outside.
I remember I must have been about 15 and the local club did a gay night. All the locals from the area, at the end of the night they were waiting outside with baseball bats, cricket bats, crowbars, ready to beat up anyone who came out.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you hear about gossip or you can just sort of read people's reactions that there's a certain off or they're uncomfortable with you.
Been beaten up, been mugged. I have things shouted at me in the street and it used to really kind of negative affect me. I'd just be really quiet.
I've become a little bit numbed off to it after a while, that you kind of get used to it or expect it. If I have tradespeople into my house, I always worry about what they're going to say if my partner's there and how they're going to take it, and I've had some negative reactions.
Not really any since I came out. It was all before I'd come out. I was beaten up and I was robbed. I was just treated badly just by idiots.
The most negative would be in accessing health services, I suppose. Misgendering by doctors, general ignorance, invasive questions.
If anyone said anything to me, I wouldn't respond to it. I just pretend I didn't hear it. Whereas now, I've learned that I've got a voice and I'm not scared to use it.
We talk about coming out, but in a sense, you never stop coming out, because if you start a new job, you have to kind of get that out there, never knowing if you're going to be accepted by people around you, if they're going to have a strange reaction.
Sometimes people, when they're drunk, that's kind of when you find out people's intentions of what they actually want to know about you. Well, how did your parents react? What surgeries have you had? Are you gay now? You see another side to people usually on a night out when they think, I've never met you, a person like you before, you are my learning experience, I can just be as curious and as invasive as I want to be. I might be comfortable addressing this issue, but another person might not be, so it's just be respectful with your questions as well.
For me, if someone calls me queer, I'm yep, that's me. It's taking ownership of that word, and I wouldn't let anyone else use it in a negative way towards me. Going to my first gay bar.
When I moved up to Manchester, I'd always wanted to do it. I'd grown up watching Queer as Folk, just discreetly upstairs with the volume off.
Realising that it's okay to be gay.
There was a band that I was really into, and the lead singer came out as a transgender woman. It really impacted me because there was something about their lyrics up to that point that really resonated with gender dysphoria and my identity.
It was actually just being around a group of my peers. For them, the decisions that I had made wasn't alien or it wasn't not right, but just to actually feel normal. Not as normal as can be anyway.
It was something that I always wanted to do. It's been 5 or 6 years now and I've loved it, and I remember being in the village and just feeling that Manchester was my home. I was away from all that, I could start a new life and new friends.
It was like a great big weight off my shoulders.
On some level I just knew, and then when she came out and said, oh, these songs were actually about this, it affirmed my feelings, it validated them. I was like, oh yes, that makes sense.
Just the acceptance, I think, has been a really important thing for me over time, that people, even my straight friends, have kind of stood up for LGBTQ rights. To see people that don't necessarily have skin in the game standing up for queer culture, queer communities.
It's very different. The fact that I don't have to explain what trans is when I meet people is a huge difference.
There's two sides to that. I mean, personally, I think it's a lot easier, but then you look in the news and transphobia, homophobia incidents have gone up recently.
I think it's better, there's more acceptance, but I also think in big cities we're in a bit of a bubble. You go out of the big cities into the sort of more rural areas especially, or smaller towns, and there's still quite a lot of HBT phobia going on.
It's quite difficult to fit into all the stereotypes, and as a gay man you've got body image issues and you're constantly promoted to all these Muslim areas and clubs, and it's just not me. And
the majority of the time people already have like an understanding. It can come with people already have like an opinion that they've already formed. So they can be like, oh, I've already read about that, I've already formed an opinion.
I still think there's an underbelly of prejudice and stigma.
I've always struggled with that part, like never fitting into a certain clique. Got to be seen out every night and stuff like that, and it can be stressful.
Our society is still really heteronormative. That's the way that we're sold things on a daily basis. It's rare that you get people from the LGBTQIA community being portrayed in a positive way in the media still. It's a daily battle for all of us.
We're all reshaping and remoulding these roles that we have, and society will change for the better, I think, because of it. I think if someone told me that it didn't, that would be a lie. Anything to do with like your environment and how other people see you is going to impact your mental health.
With the bad experiences I've had, I thought, is this what my life's going to be like as a gay man? And it was damaging and affecting my confidence, and I didn't like myself because I was gay. That was because society had moulded me into that feeling that way, which was rubbish.
When I read the stats, I was reading this morning about 52% of people in the LGBTQ community experience depression.
It's actually higher than 1 in 2, and I think that is a really, really shocking statistic. I think the wider community would be shocked at that.
It's very similar to the mental health issues that you get in BME communities. When you're isolated from like the wider mainstream community, you're gonna take a lot of that hate, that stigma, and just internalise it.
If society tells you that a part of you is not acceptable, how can that not have a negative impact on your mental well-being?
Support is out there, but it's minimal. It doesn't get the recognition it deserves.
It depends on where you are. Maybe it's a bit of like a postcode lottery.
I think there can always be improvements. Going back to that Stonewall report as well, the vast majority of people said that they didn't have positive experiences accessing health and social care because of their LGBTQIA identity.
I don't think there's anything, to be fair. I think there's quite a toxic culture of, like I said before, about going out every weekend. You'll see somebody out, you don't know their reasons for going out, and a lot of it, on the gay scene, it's 24 hours. You find the right people, you can party non-stop. So it's got a lot to do with the figures, is self-medicating.
I don't think people are willing to talk about it as much because there is that stigma. Until that gets better, people aren't going to be willing to talk about it, and the support groups won't be as visible as it needs to be.
I'm very fortunate because I live in Manchester. When I wanted to access counselling, I did it at the LGBT Foundation. If I'd have been in a town where they don't have the same resources, I may have had to see like a counsellor just from your general mental health service. It wouldn't have really been tailored or specific to me. May have even been with a practitioner who doesn't really have the same level of understanding.
I want people to become more open about it. I want people not to be scared to talk about it. And I want people to not judge you for it. If we can manage just one of those, then we've done well.
Exploration and learning, I think, really more than anything. Getting to people who've kind of been lost and isolated by the mainstream services, where people have been like overlooked or even misdiagnosed.
Shows you there is more to, not just going out and being seen and hiding your issues and drinking.
The model we're using in Rainbow Mind is addressing some of the issues that people have around internalised toxic shame, internalised homo, bi and transphobia. We do take on those messages, how can we not?
Take pride in being different.
It's okay to be who you are, there's nothing wrong with that. Learn to love yourself. You know, that's what it's all about.
Have confidence. I think that's probably the biggest one. I think as my confidence has grown, I've grown.
Don't do drugs. No, only joking. I mean, not to be too hard on myself. Over the years, I've destroyed my own confidence by overthinking, and 9 times out of 10 I'll overanalyse everything and it'll be wasted energy. So if I just stop that would be great.
If I could go back, I'd be like, don't listen to the people around you because they're not necessarily right, and history will prove that they were wrong and you were right.